Hey guys, Matt here, and we should be rolling. This should be live and in living color. And let's see, just checking on things here on my end. And if you guys could just let me know if you could see me and hear me. And let me just type something in the chat box here. Okay, hi Nilesh. I do my best with pronunciation. Sometimes I don't get it right. But thanks for everyone being here, man. You guys are here punctually on time. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hang out with you guys for about 10 minutes before we start, and just kind of shoot the breeze with you guys, and then we're gonna get to the webinar. So what I'm gonna do is while I'm talking to you guys here in this 10 minutes time we have before noon Eastern, is I'm going to send another email out to your peers. To remind them about this webinar, because I was supposed to send one out this morning but I forgot. So I'm going to send one out right now. Let's see here. But anyways, nice move in the markets last couple days, obviously. If you're a subscriber to my penny stock service, you saw the trade on IO, which was just tremendous, from $5.80 to $7.80. And so pretty excited about that. Quick win. Usually have to wait a little longer than 2-3 days before you go see something go from $5.80 to $8. So I'm typing this out as I speak to you, but so bear with me here. Starting the webinar right now on how to quickly grow a small options trading account. Okay, and let me just get the link put in here for these guys, and then you guys will have my full attention. Again, I apologize. So yeah, pretty exciting time to be in the market right now. People that are still super bearish right now are missing out on a lot of money, probably losing money because they're short. So yeah. This is the bounce everybody was expecting, like the start of December. They missed it we're just wrong. We were just wrong by a month, right? So, well, they say the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. Sometimes that's true, unfortunately. And let me get this joker sent out. All right, I gotta pick out who I want to send it to. Blah 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 blah. This, that, and the other. And I'm going to send it out right now. All right. So while that's being sent, ladies and gentlemen, okay, Duke says he can see and hear me. Kim, hello, Jan. All right, so let me just give a little roll call here. Actually, let me not do that. There's a lot of people in here. It'll take forever. But if you're here right now, I'm excited that you're here bright and early and ready to have some fun today. And so who here is maybe a Clemson fan? Any Clemson fans here? You probably woke up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today if you're a Clemson fan. My son and I are, well, not just, I mean, I have a lot of kids, but my oldest son and I are probably the biggest fans of everyone in the home, but we're pretty big, college football fans. So we enjoyed the last game of the season last night. Fortunately, it's bittersweet, right? So I'm originally from Ohio, so we're Ohio State fans. My kids don't really have a choice, if I'm honest. You know. So, but yeah, college football is a lot of fun. I like it a lot better than the NFL nowadays. Not nearly as political as the NFL is. So, everything all sorted out right here. All right, so everyone is still kind of piling into the room as we speak, and there is a limitation on how many people can be in the room. I think it's 150 is the max I can have in the room at once. It might be 200, but I think it's 150. And so just to let you know, if you log off, you might not be able to get back in the room if we happen to hit 150 people. So if you try to log in while there's 150 people in here, it won't let you in. So I just want to let you know. So if you have a seat, you're probably better off staying here, especially if you want to stay for the duration and ask questions and things like that, and just hang out with me. All right, because trading can be a lonely game, right? Because it's not really something that you probably can't go to your neighbor's house and sit down and have coffee and talk to them about trading. They're going to just look at you and their eyes will start to gloss over. They don't know what you're talking about because most people don't trade very actively at all. So we're going to have some fun today as traders, as kind of a special tight-knit community, right? You guys know me. You may not know each other, but you will maybe a little bit kind of get a feel for each other in the chat box down there. And we'll have some fun today, and we will talk about trading options. We'll talk about a strategy that is by far probably my biggest breakthrough as a trader. I've had another big breakthrough recently. I've done 11 webinars on that a month ago, so I won't be covering that today. But so this will cover the biggest breakthrough I had, and I really originally discovered this in spring or early, maybe late winterish of 2016. All right, Stan says I have a max of 200, so thank you for correcting me there. I do have a max of 200, so as long as there's less than 200 in here, you guys can leave and come back, but of course I'm not going to encourage you to do that. But just to let you know, that's the technical limitations I have. So who here? So no Clemson fans, huh? Wow. All right. Well, I live in South Carolina, so everywhere I go, I see Clemson bumpers. I see people with Clemson shirts, hats, Clemson shoes. I don't hate Clemson, but I don't particularly like them. But whatever. I was kind of rooting for them against Alabama last night, if I'm honest. Just not an Alabama fan, So hopefully I'm not alienating any of you. I probably am, but hey, it's all in good fun, right? College football. So so I'm seeing some familiar names like Christopher Z, Greg. Who else looks familiar here to me? Robert, Kim, Jan. I think you folks have all been on webinars before with me. All right, some of you only see your first name. Benoit has been on a webinar before, unless it's a different Benoit. I did pass French 1 in high school. I flunked out of French 2, so I do know how to pronounce Benoit. All right. All right, guys, it looks like it's right at high noon here on the East Coast in the good old US of A. So we are going to go ahead and begin with the webinar. So firstly, let me just say, before I switch the screen over to my presentation, thank you guys for coming. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm equally excited that you guys are here with me. Okay, so let's go through this. Let's get down to business. I need to switch my screenage over here to my webinar presentation. And apparently my computer wants to think about that before it lets me do that. So bear with me here. It's about time for old Matt to buy a new computer, by the way. Oh, joy. Okay. Okay, so what we should be seeing now is my slides. So just let me know if you can see my slides and still hear my voice nice and loud and clear and crisp. So can you guys see my slides? I just want to make sure you get I want audio and visual, right? Let's see here. Okay, let me type it in. Can you guys see the slides? Okay, cool. All right, Joe and LF said yes. Okay. Okay, cool. So let's get started then. So the first slide contains the title of the webinar, a little mugshot of me in the lower left-hand corner, just in case you've never seen me before or anything, or if you just want a refresher what I look like as we go throughout the webinar, you'll see those little pictures of me throughout most of the slides. And so the name of the webinar is How to Achieve Rapid Account Growth with the SPY, QQQ, and GLD ETFs with options, okay? My name is Matt Morris. I am the president of MM Publishing, Inc., which is my little publishing company, right? I'm not in any skyscraper or anything. And I have several services. One of them is Microcap Millionaires. Many of you are probably familiar with that. We just had a nice trade over the last several days. And also Fed Trader Service. And then I also have kind of a VIP service too. But we're going to focus today on the Fed Trader Service and what that can do for you as it relates to SPY, QQQ, and GLD. So first thing we need to do, besides just telling you the title of this presentation, is give you a disclaimer. So I'll give you a second to read that. But basically the gist of it is that stocks and options trading has large potential rewards. You can make a ton of money, but you can also lose all your money. There are certain ways where you can trade options where you can lose more than you put at stake. I don't trade like that, so you don't have to worry about that. But technically, you could lose what you do put into it, or you could double, triple, quadruple, whatever. But basically, no risk, no reward. This is high risk type of trading. If not done properly, you can lose your money, okay? And also hypothetical, simulated, or past results are not necessarily indicative of future performance. There's going to be a lot of that, me showing you past trades and proof and all that stuff. But of course, that's not to say that's 100% guarantee what's going to happen in the future, okay? So just so we get all that on the table and out of the way, we can move into the good stuff. All right, here we go. So we have a specific trade that I want to share with you before the webinar is over. Okay, so if you stick to the end, you'll get that specific trade. But before we get to that specific trade, I want to ask you a question. How many of you have watched a stock or an ETF and maybe watched, certain events transpire, earnings or news releases that were really good or really bad? And so as a result of that, you felt confident about what direction that stock or ETF was going to go in. So you went out and you bought calls if you thought it was going to go up, or you bought puts if you thought it was going to go down, right? So maybe that's based on news you thought was really good or really bad, or maybe that was based on a chart formation that you thought was very bullish or very bearish, all right? So based on this, how many of you have went out and bought a stock or an ETF based on that, right? So probably good chunk of you anyways. So let me put my card here, guys, okay? We're going to get back to this in a second. But first of all, I want to ask you, or not ask you, I want to just let you know, again, there will be a specific trade revealed during the webinar towards the end. And there also will be a special offer towards the end of the webinar that adds value to the free information you'll learn here in a moment. Okay, so just to be totally transparent with you about that. So now going back to this slide here about the buying calls or puts when you thought it was a sure bet of something to go in one direction. How many of you ended up losing a significant amount on those trades or even lost all of your money as the option not only went down, was lower in value than you purchased it for, but also expired worthless? So literally, with a penny stock, sometimes you buy a penny stock for $1.50 and you might sell for $1.10 and lose a nice chunk of money, unfortunately. But with an option, you can buy it for $1.50 and not even get to sell it because it goes to zero, right? That's pretty painful. How many would agree with me about that, right? The options trading, how do that is one of the realities of options trading. If you're making a directional bet, long calls or long puts only, yeah, you could get your butt handed to you, okay, and they could expire worthless. So when you think about it, when that happens, it's really frustrating. Is probably putting it lightly, but it's definitely costly, and furthermore, it's emotionally draining, isn't it, guys? I mean, you just feel like I found this picture of this guy who just his hair is messed up. It looks like it's wintertime. It's January now, so it's cold in most of the country. He's wearing, looks like a pullover kind of zip up fleece or sweatshirt or sweater. He's got maybe a turtleneck on underneath that, and he's got his face. Half of his face is buried in his palm. So this is a guy who is, either in some kind of deep depression or just had a really, really, really bad day or two. Okay, emotionally draining. And also what happens is, you lose real money. So aside from the emotional aspect of it, you lose real money that you had to work for to acquire, and that sometimes can really destroy the morale of traders. I actually just read an article not too long ago about an options trader who lost 250 grand in just a few months. I mean, that's a lot of money just to blow on options in just a few months. I mean, that guy, basically, if you'd have done the opposite of what he did, you probably would have turned 250K into $1 million, in just a few months. But anyways, he didn't have such good luck. And I'm just wondering, what would that guy tell his wife? Maybe that was just chump change to him. I don't know. Maybe he had, 50 million in the bank. It's quite possible, I suppose. But, 250K, what would he look his wife in the eye and tell her? Would they have anything left at all in their savings? Ugh, right? Man, it's like, just kind of takes the air out the room thinking about that, right? Now, I'm bringing this subject up because it is a reality that most traders need to face before they get over the hump of profitability. So, options trading and think they can probably just kind of beat the odds and have some fun and just kind of do it on their own, and they end up blowing an account. I've blown an account before, right? In all transparency. Maybe you have too. Hopefully it wasn't too much money. You should only start out with a small amounts your first time. But the way I trade options now virtually eliminates the possibility of blowing out my account by picking the wrong direction. So if I thought Apple was going up on January 1st, the market pretty much was bottom out. But then what happened with Apple? They came out, they pre-announced bad earnings and the stock gapped down 8%. So even though the overall market has recovered the last few days, Apple's still, really close to the lows, that it hit when it gapped down. So, if by picking the wrong direction, say on Apple, if I was going long Apple, and I got hit with that pre-announcement, I think it was January 2nd, right? That they came out with that. So, the market was up, Apple was up that day, I believe, and then nightmare scenario happens in after hours and the stock gaps down. So, those calls that were bought on January 2nd, at least the near-term data ones, got destroyed. But the way I'm trading now, guys, virtually eliminates this type of account wreckage, all right? Now, with that said, who is ready to see how I plan on helping you rapidly grow your account by trading SPY, QQQ, and GLD options in a profoundly unique way? So who here is ready, to see a strategy that, yes, I will make the bold claim that if you pick one direction and you're wrong, it won't blow out your account. Not magic. It's a strategy that's been around for a certain amount of time, but you may not have had it brought to your attention before. All right, cool. All right, so Mark says, I'll listen. Joe says, yes. Awesome. Mark says, Kim says, yes. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go. I'm actually going to do one better than that, though. I'm going to reveal an upcoming trade to you. And I'm also going to show you how to get my pinpoint buy and sell alerts for this trade, both via email and text alert to your phone, SMS text alert, okay? The same way you text with your wife and your kids or your husband and your friends, you can get text alerts from good old Matt, all right? That harness the power of this strategy that I'm going to reveal to you, okay? So here comes a unique strategy. Let's talk about it right now. So before we can talk about the strategy and the upcoming trade that I'm going to share before the webinar is over, I want to talk about the events. So everything is kind of intertwined. So when I say strategy, the events are part of the strategy, okay? So the events that I trade these options around are tied to, the options I trade for Fed trader service type trades are tied to certain events, okay? So let's review one of these events that I make these options trades around and why I'm so confident about continuing to make these trades and alert them to subscribers of my Fed trader service. Okay, so here we go. Event type number one. We'll go through a couple different types, right? Event number one is the monthly jobs report. The monthly jobs report. So who here knows on what day of the month usually the monthly jobs report comes out? What day of the month is that usually? Or what day of the week, I guess? Any takers? Okay. No one? Okay. Let's see, 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No takers? All right, so the jobs report, okay, Mark, you got it right. And Mark, it is Friday. It's the first Friday of each month, usually. Sometimes there's variations due to holidays and stuff like that and what day of the month it falls on. It's like if it's on the first of the month, the first of the month is a Friday, sometimes they'll wait till the following Friday to give them time to, compile the data and stuff like that. But it's usually the first Friday of every month, there's a monthly jobs report. That's the first type of event that I use to make Fed trades with or trade options around that event, okay? So what usually happens on jobs report Fridays? Well, the SPY, the QQQ, and the GLD ETFs all either go up or down substantially, but they seldom do nothing and go unch on the day. So what does unch mean? It means unchanged, right? That means sideways. It doesn't do anything. So the strategy that I'm using cannot be very good to use if you have an unch type action. So that's why I structure it around these big events or catalysts such as the monthly jobs report, okay? So does Matt try to predict which way markets will go on jobs report Fridays with options? And the answer is no, I do not. I use a trading strategy that allows me to profit when markets go up, ... or down. And that's not a typo there. So, some of you probably already know what I'm talking about. And so, but it allows me to profit if markets go up or down substantially. I don't have to pick the right direction. So does anyone have a guess on what type of trade I use to profit off of a move up or down. And now I cue the Jeopardy music. Do, do, do. All right, a lot of people typed in First Friday there. Good job, guys. I just didn't see them until I was already talking about it. But yeah, so who knows what type of strategy I'm talking about where I can make money on SPY, ETF, QQQ, or GLD as long as it goes up substantially one way or the other. Anyone have a guess? A neutral trade. I guess it is kind of neutral. That's not the terminology I'm looking for, but I think you're on the right path there, Robert. Joe says straddle or strangle. Ding, 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 ding. Harold, ding, 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 straddle. Okay, perfect. Okay, you guys are correct. It was called a straddle or strangle. Now, don't let that term scare you. I know it sounds like some crazy option strategy, but it's really not. Okay, it's really pretty simple. So, of course, the answer is straddles or strangles. And what you do basically is you buy calls and puts at the same time on that particular ETF at the same expiration. If it's a straddle, you buy it at the same price. I'm sorry, the calls and the puts at the same strike price. If it's a strangle, they're at a little bit different strike prices. Okay, and we'll talk more about that and clear up any confusion that may be in your head right now about that. So who's ready to see how some of these trades panned out for me using straddles or strangles on the monthly jobs report? I can't, go through 100 of them, but I do have some time, and you have some time, hopefully, to see how they worked out on a sampling of a few. Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag. All right, so let's go ahead and get to the first one. So this is from April. So I try to kind of pick random. We are going to go through the one that I just traded this past Friday. But let's look at April of 2018, so a few months ago. And there was the non-farm, so it's called the non-farm private payrolls and NFP. And so that's came out April 6, 2018 for the month of March. And you can see the screenshot there. There was expected to be 103 jobs created, 103,000 jobs created. And there was, there was expected to be 193,000 jobs created. There was only 103,000 created. So that's a disappointment. You can see I bought a strangle on gold with options. I bought a strangle on QQQ with options. Okay. So for the gold ETF, I bought the 126 calls and the 125.50 puts because at the time I bought that, and 75 cents. Okay, so I wanted to get the strangle with the calls just above that current price and the puts just below that current price. Ideally, paying about the same amount for the calls and for the puts. Okay. So that's where the little bit of skill in watching price action comes into play. Also, same thing for QQQ. I didn't trade SPY on this one. I traded QQQ. So I bought this paid $466 for those strangles. That consisted of the 161 calls, as you can see there on your screen, and the 160.50 puts. So at that time, QQQ was trading around $160.75. So I would have paid equal amount or similar on the 161 calls as I paid for the $160.50 put options because they were both slightly out of the money in different directions. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then the last two screenshots on the bottom there show some of my exits, or they show my exits from those strangles, excuse me. So even though I bought them both with one transaction, so I bought the calls and puts on GLD with one transaction, and the same thing with QQQ, I had to sell each leg individually. So the next morning, actually it looks like the next day at 11 and the next day at 1400, which is 2 o'clock Eastern time. I exited the trade. So I sold the winning or the losing leg first that next morning. I sold the losing leg of the QQQ and the losing leg of the GLD. You can see the losing leg of the QQQ at 132 and the losing leg of GLD at 35. And then I sold the winning leg of QQQ at 413. The losing leg, I'm sorry, the winning leg of GLD at 97. So I actually lost a little bit of money on GLD. I paid 136 overall. I lost, and I lost 4 cents on that contract. But the good news is I made pretty good on the QQQ strangle. I paid 466 for it and sold it for 545. All right. So let's move along to the next one. So you can see the screenshots there. Pretty cut and dry because the move in the QQQ was big enough to compensate. Even though I lost money on one leg, the gain on the other leg was big enough to more than compensate for that. So that's kind of the secret sauce behind it, right, is the power of the catalyst. All right, jobs report trade number 2. This was just last week. So Friday, January 4th, 2019, the jobs report comes out at 8:30 in the morning. Of course, the market doesn't open. The options market doesn't open until 9:30 when the floor of the NYSE opens up. And you can see here my buy. I traded SPY options. I bought the SPY strangle of 246 calls and 245 puts. So the SPY was trading at about 245.50 at that point in time when I bought it on Thursday afternoon at 13:30, so about 1:30 Eastern time. And I sold the puts the next morning at 38 cents as the losing leg. And then I sold the calls at 10 o'clock, which was premature actually because the thing kept rocketing higher the rest of the day. But I wanted to go ahead and lock in my profit. So I sold the calls at 375. So I bought it for 314 and I sold it for a total of $4.13 the next day. So that's about a 30% gain, right? So you can see the job report, last Friday was really good. It was way past expectations. So the market liked that. Plus Jerome Powell said a bunch of, nice things about he wasn't going to jack up interest rates, 10 times next year. So the market liked that. Now let's go to another one, and this one's is really exciting to share with you. This is from a while back. It's kind of a throwback, but this is my biggest jobs trade ever, and it was from Friday, June 3rd, 2016. There was expected to be 162,000 jobs created, but there was only 38,000 created. That's a pretty big miss. Usually you don't see that big of a miss in expectations. So the GLD ETF is the one I went heavy in on that particular trade. The GLD ETF shot higher because that pointed to economic uncertainty, and investors, didn't like that. The markets were down that day, but gold really soared. Sometimes gold acts as a inverse sort of ETF on the market. When the market goes down, it goes up. So that's what happened in this particular instance. That's a pre-market chart that I snapshotted way back there then during that trade in 2016. And you can see it shooting from 115 to almost to 118 in that screenshot right there. So I paid 75 cents for the calls and puts. So that was a strangle of the 116 gold calls and the 115.50 gold puts, gold ETF. And I paid a total of 75 cents. And I sold it the next morning. I sold the calls for $2.31. The puts were completely worthless, but I did not care because I made 180% on that trade. And it actually made $22,000. So that realized P&L screenshot right there is a little misleading because it didn't factor in my worthless puts. But so I did make about 22 grand on that trade. Pretty awesome. That was a huge trade. That really just, I was over the moon about that trade. So I don't know if any of you are around back then following my emails and stuff like that, but that was just awesome. And I'm glad I saved all the screenshots and everything and the proof of it for you guys to see, because hopefully you see this is like a huge strategy, right? This was a huge breakthrough for me to be able to play something and be right even if I'm wrong. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. That night, I was thinking that the market was going to go higher, that gold was going to tank, and I was thinking I was going to make money on the puts. But guess what? I was totally wrong, but it didn't matter because I made money on the calls, even though I thought it was going to go down. I didn't base my bet on my gut feeling. I said, well, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, but I think the market's going to move one way or the other. I think gold, GLD ETF is going to move big one way or the other. So I better just, use a strangle to be able to make money even if I'm wrong. And that's what I do, and that's what I did. And you can see I made a huge payday. I made a huge payday on that, okay? So super, super exciting strategy, super, super exciting breakthrough for me as a trader. And I created a whole service based on this breakthrough, and it's still continuing to mint out big winning trades for me and my subscribers of Fed Trader Service. This is a comment I got from one of my subscribers. He said, I'm still in awe over your trade. One of the best, if not the best, short-term trade I've ever seen. So that was pretty cool to get a response like that from Viraj Patel. Okay, I just wanted to share that screenshot with you. I thought it was neat. So now looking at these results, guys, you might say, but Matt, what if I only have a small account to trade options with, say about $1,500? Well, this is small account friendly, guys. Now, let me visualize this hypothetical sake. This is a hypothetical, visualization here. But if a $1,500 small account, what that would amount to after we place these trades that I just showed you. So trade one, it wasn't great, but it was still 20% winner. So $1,500 account goes to $1,800. And then trade two, 25% winner. Okay, not great, but hey, we'll take it, right? So $1,800 account goes to $2,250. And then the third trade, that's the big home run trade, 180% win overnight. A $2,250 account, $2,000 account goes to $6,300 based on the results from these trades that I just showed you. Okay, now let's look at a second type of trade, because the jobs report is great, but it's only once a month. So it's like, that's a lot of time just to kind of, well, I really want to make a trade, but, it's not jobs report Friday, and that only happens once. And, we want to be disciplined traders, but let's be honest, we want to trade as much as we can without, trading like gamblers, right? So the second type of trade that we can crush it with is the Federal Reserve rate decision trade. So there are certain days, it's not every month, but there are rate decisions that come out once every month or two, where the Federal Reserve will decide on whether or not to raise interest rates or not. So it's usually telegraphed to the market well in advance, but you still, for some reason, get a nice reaction in the market. So let me show you an example. So this most recent example was in December of 2018, and Jerome Powell lowered his projection to 2 rate increases in 2019, but the market still did not like what he had to say. They did not view that as dovish. So the market tanked. The market tanked in the middle of December, and it went down that day, and it kept going down all the way through that big sell-off that we had on Christmas Eve, which is when pretty much the market bottomed. So we had that big sell-off. So I bought a QQQ straddle. So this is an instance where I bought a straddle. You can see up here on top, I bought the QQQ $160.50 calls, and also the same strike with the puts, which is a straddle, at $4.14 at 12:42. And then the move was so big that afternoon, I was like, I just need to sell, because, I didn't want to risk being in a nice big profit, having a nice big unrealized profit, then the market's totally reversing the next day and wiping out my profit. So I went ahead and sold the puts out of that straddle. Later on that afternoon, about an hour after the Fed news came out, the market was tanking. So 15:10, that means 3:10 in the afternoon Eastern time, I sold my puts down here at 6:30, and the calls expired worthless. So if you're wondering why they're not on there, they went to zero, but it didn't matter to me because I made more money on the puts than I paid for the straddle. So, you know, 414 to 630, I think that's what, a 50% winner. So nice trade right there. It's all about trading these straddles and strangles on QQQ, SPY, and GLD around the events that concern the Fed. So the jobs report concerns the Fed because it's a big data point that the Fed uses in its theory on raising or lowering interest rates, okay? So it's related to the Fed, so it's part of the Fed trader strategy. Here's another one. This is from a while back, and I bought GLD strangle here, 115 calls, 114.50 puts, and you can see the big move there at 1400, which is the day the news came out, and then it trickled higher pre-market the next day, and I was able to pay. I paid $1.08 for the GLD strangle, and sold the calls the next morning at $1.62. Again, puts expired worthless, but I did not care, right? So a nice 50% winner there, 50-ish percentage winner, maybe like 46% or something, I don't know. But still a very nice trade, right? I bought a good amount of contracts too, so I don't remember my exact dollar profit that day, but it was in multiple thousands. And here are the text alerts I sent for this trade. This is a screenshot from my phone. It says I bought the February 3rd GLD 114.50, 115 strangles, and I explained why, because it was at 114.75. And then I said I sold my puts for a loss. Okay, so I did actually sell the puts. I just don't have the screenshot for some reason. And then the next morning I gave a heads up that gold was up pre-market. I let people know I'm going to be selling here right after the opening bell. And then I said sold my GLD calls at 162, up 200% on these, minus the 50% loss on the puts. So up 200% because the put structure. You know, I paid 108 for the strangle, but I was up 200% on the puts because that was only half. So I only paid, you know, I paid 54 cents, right, for the puts. Okay, so a great trade there, guys, and that's what it looks like to the Fed Trader subscribers when they get the alerts. So here's another one, and then we'll talk about something else. But here's a Fed rate trade, interest rate trade number 3. I bought a strangle on GLD again, $1.05. Sold the losing leg at 10 and sold the winning leg at 263. That's pretty huge, right? I still remember this one to this day because gold moves so much within 1 minute of the Fed news coming out, guys, at 2 p.m. Eastern time of the rate increase decision. The strangle was in profit, I'm kid you not, within 1 minute of the 2 p.m. news release. So like my puts were almost worthless instantaneously. You can see I sold them at 207, which is only 7 minutes after the news came out. And then I sold the calls the next morning at 9:33. So basically right after the market opened at 263. So, you know, from $1.05 to 273 is what so that's, you know, what, 160% winner right there or something. So pretty crazy. And again, I had a good amount of contracts. So again, multiple thousands in profit. Okay, structuring, these strangles around the federal interest rate decisions or any event that I interpret as being relevant to Fed policy. Okay, here's the text alerts from this trade that I sent out that I screenshotted way back when. I did this trade back in March, and so I bought the March 17th 114 calls, 114 puts, strangle at 105. So everything's spelled out very clearly. And then I sent another one, gold up huge, sold my puts as losing leg at 10, holding calls. And then next morning, GLD, nice gap up, sold my 114.50 calls at 263, huge win. I think about a 4 or 5 bagger. I need to check, but I was wrong about that because it was only 150% gain. I was just a little excited there. So I mean, hopefully that pretty much spells things out pretty clearly. I actually have one more real quick. So Federal interest rate trade number 4. I paid 104 for GLD 121 put, 121.50 call strangle. Federal interest rate, Fed interest rate decision out right here where that arrow is pointing to. You can see a big tank in GLD. So I sold the calls as losing leg at 15 minutes afterwards at 28 cents, and then sold the calls right before the market, or I'm sorry, the puts right before the market closed at 134. So about a 50% winner there too. So pretty nice trade. And here's a text alerts for that too, all spelled out nice and clearly. All right. So the point is I text things out and I send the emails out to make things pretty much hard to miss and very easy to understand and follow along. All right, for subscribe Fed Trader Service. All right, so based on these 4 interest rate decision trades being big winners, guys, so let's continue our hypothetical trading account of $1,500, right? And again, most trades are closed out within 24 hours. So trade 1 was plus 50%, 2 was plus 125%, trade 3 was 150%, and trade 4 was plus 55%. So remember, we had our $1,500 account up to $6,300 after the 3 jobs. Now let's multiply and compound that with these 4 trades. So from 6,300 to 9,450 after the first trade. After the second trade goes from 9,450 to $21,262.50. Trade 3, 150% winner. So 21,000 goes to 53,000. And then trade 4, 55% gain. 53,000 goes to $82,392. Whoa, right? Let's look at that slide again. I mean, again, right, I don't expect, it would not be wise to put all your money after a winning trade. If you turn 1,500 into 10,000 or 20,000, of course it would not be wise, right, to put all that money into the next trade, because then if the trade is a loser, then, you're not going to do too well. All right. So, but again, this is just for hypothetical consideration, right? That's not good money management. Right? I'm going to take a few trades. How cool would that be, right? Then you want to, once you build it up to 10, 15 grand, then you want to start taking a more, okay, let me settle down here. Let me not put 80% of my account in one trade. So you want to go consider it can go up or down and you can still make money, right? Now, the thing about this strategy you have to be careful with is that you just can't go up and buy a strangle or a straddle on the SPY, QQQ, or GLD. You want and expect to make money because they don't move big enough every day or even every week for these strangles and straddles to work, or else market makers wouldn't be allowing us to buy them all the time, right? So the market makers make money because most of the time they're not profitable. And that's because people don't trade them right. They don't trade them around big events like this. They just trade them willy-nilly and end up, losing money because the value of the options decays if there's not a big enough move one way or the other. So that's the secret sauce, is trading the strangles and the straddles around these big events. And I have a whole acronym that explains this inside my course that I'm going to share how to get access to in here in just a minute. So we talked about, what do we talk about? Jobs report, guys. What was the other thing we talked about? Interest rate decisions, right? So in addition to these 2 events, there's also certain things that pop up. Like I throw in as a bonus the OPEC, trading the OPEC decisions. There's been several 50 to 100% winners on that over the last couple of years. And I'm constantly on the hunt for new events to alert to my subscribers of Fed Trader Service. Like, as an example, periodically the CPI release will be big enough where the markets pay attention and move big one way or the other based on it. So yeah, I was, that's my job, is to pay attention to the markets and see what the big deal is, see what the market's paying attention to, so that I can relay that information in the form of a trade to my subscribers. And so here, watching the market, having my ear to the ground like I do all the time, I found that the upcoming CPI report in early 2018, in February 2018, that the market was very much in, anticipating this very hotly. They were, the market, people on CNBC were commenting, oh, I don't know about this CPI. This is going to be integral to, the Fed decision. So you hear all this banter. And so you kind of get a feel for things as, this is going to be a market moving event, even though sometimes the CPI is not really a big deal. Sometimes it's a big yawn. The market's kind of yawn at the CPI data. But in this case, it was a big deal. So I went ahead and made a trade and alerted the trade to my Fed Trader subscribers. And we took a trade on GLD, paid $132 for a straddle on GLD, 126 straddle, paid $1.32 for it, and sold it for $2.03 the next day. So boom, right? Another 50% winner overnight. I know it sounds crazy. We all know you, quote unquote, can't get rich overnight, but you can make nice, good trades overnight if you do it the right way, even if you're wrong about the direction. Now, I have to admit, guys, if you've stuck with me for the duration of this webinar, if you've been here since the time I switched from, the camera pointing at my face to my slides, if you've been here since that time, right around noon, about 41 minutes ago, you have just received a crash course on how I trade Federal Reserve related events. So with that said, you may be able to go it alone from this point forward and do fine and make money. And, maybe send me an email one day and say, hey, Matt, thanks for, sharing that strategy. I didn't ever subscribe to your Fed Trader service, but, I'm making good money doing it on my own. And, maybe you could at least, drop me an email. That would brighten up my day. But there is also a good chance that you'll make a costly mistake if you go it alone that you wouldn't have made if you had an experienced trader such as myself by your side. All right? All right. So how many of you, with that said, how many of you would you like me to spoon feed my buy and sell alerts for the next round of Fed trades to you in real time, so you're positioned for yet another potential, 50, 25, 100, maybe even 180% winner, like I shared with you throughout the duration of this presentation? How many of you would like those alerts sent to you both via email and text message alert right to your phone? Right? So there's no more just guessing and just kind of going willy-nilly and just kind of, okay, it's jobs report Friday, let me think about what I'm gonna do. I mean, where I really spell things out for you. And it looks like we got a little bit of lag here. Slides, but something. All right, so hopefully I'm thinking about it. All right. Okay. All right, so yeah, you can actually watch it on the live stream on my YouTube, I think. All right, cool. All right, guys, just 1 second here for technical difficulty. All right, or my live stream. But anyways, okay, so let's move on. So guys, what I want to introduce you right now is the Fed Trader Service. I've been talking about the whole webinar, but I introduce you to the Fed Trader Service and the $1,500 account challenge. Woo woo. Okay, so this is how an example of how the Fed Trader Service 2019 jobs report, which was just out last Friday. I said, Fed traders, it's that time again. Jobs report time. Smiley face. Please be prepared for a trade this afternoon before the closing bell. Likely be a straddle 8 a.m. Mountain time. That's actually 10:48 Eastern time, which is my time. All right. And then I went ahead and sent out via email and text the trade I made. This SPY January 4th expiration 246 calls and 245 puts strangle at $3.14 for the jobs report trade. Because you can see both in email and text at 1:35 in the afternoon. Okay, Thursday before, the day before jobs report. All right, then the next morning, they got an email and text from me at 9:47 a.m. I sent the text. I sold the SPY puts at 38 cents as a losing leg. Stop loss in on the calls at $2.20. That would have got hit. It would have been a loss for me, but it did not get hit, and the market SPY rallied. Everything's spelled out right there, as you can see on the slides. And then I went ahead and sold my calls at 375 at 10:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, the text time stamp here is in Mountain Time, and so it's 2 hours behind. But you can see here, I sold the calls here. The alert that they got on text message, and also the email was has a little more details in it. And sold my SPY calls at 375. So I sold the puts at 38. So I paid, I paid 314 for the strangle. So about a 30% win overnight, right? So you can see how everything is clearly spelled out to the paid subscribers, okay? So here's the details right now. We'll talk about Fed Trader, but we'll also talk about the $1,500 account challenge. So if you join FTS right now at the special webinar only offer rate, we'll get to that in just a minute, you can use an account of $1,500 to get started with the trades and see how fast you can get to 10K, 20K, and then the 6 figures. So the first one to send me the proof of the biggest account growth with Fed trades will be publicly honored via webinar to all other Fed Trader members as an inspiration, plus receive a special gift in the mail from me. Okay, so I haven't figured out what that's going to be. I want to make it fun and cool. I just don't know what it's going to be yet. So that's the challenge. Who can be the one that can grow at 1,500? So we might as well just say the first one to 10K. All right, the first one that gets from $1,500 to 10K gets the award. So I'll change that on the slides here when we're done. But and then also as a bonus, if you join right now, you'll get 24/7 access to the members only area where the Fed Trader System course is. So you'll be up to speed and confident to place the next Fed trade. So show you how to place a straddle or strangle if you've never done it before. All right, and also go through the course, the methodology behind it, my thinking behind it. You'll see, the light bulb moment that I had that kind of, brought everything and crystallized how this strategy was going to work for me. Okay, so $29.97 real world value for this course. But since these trades are my favorite trades, guys, I'm doing something I've never done before. For this special $1,500 account challenge Fed Trader Service offer, you can lock in a full year's worth of Fed Trader Service plus the bonus course, not for $2,997, okay? Not for $1,997, okay? Not even for $1,497, okay? What you can do right now is if you lock in a subscription for the $1,500 account challenge, all right, and you should see a link popping up in 3, 2, 1, popping below the screen. You can get a full year of Fed Trader Service for just $497 and be able to partake in the $1,500 account challenge, where if you're the first one to grow your account to 10K, comprised of Fed trades, Fed type trades that I alert, then you will get the public honor of being the winner of the challenge and also get a special gift in the mail from me. All right. So to claim your spot, you can either click the link below or type this URL into your browser, fedtraderservice.com/special. Now, if you go to the regular order page, you'll see that the cheapest option you'll get is $9.97 for a year. So this is, well, 50% less than that. So this is the first time I've ever offered FedTrader at this rate, guys. So you need to go ahead and jump on this now so you can get started and get acclimated with how this strategy works. And here's some testimonials. So Mark Kaufman, he actually became a VIP member too, but he sent in a testimonial on the Fed trades. He says, I was unable to do the GLD trade despite putting it in last night. I guess his order didn't get executed, but I did better than you on the SPY trade. I paid only 82 cents and then got out for 127, made 45 cents on each 10 contracts. Did not get the big GLD win, but the small SPY win amounted to $405 profit. Some profit is better than none. I would agree with that. All right. Bill says, this is the first time making a trade with you, 43% in less than 24 hours. I say that we do this again, ... soon. Jim Mann says, wow, what a trade, net profit, 174%. Brian says, thanks, Matt, great trade, sold my calls at 158. I think I made about $1,600. Bill says, okay, so I have that one up there twice. Sorry about that. Charles says, I bought my GLD trade at 71 cents. I sold at $2.02. Thanks, Matt. Shane paid 85 cents for the strangle, sold for 132, a sweet $3,700 gain. Brad says, only had enough available cash for one stock, so I went with gold as it has been a better performer than SPY for me, a big win. Tom Miner says, I made over $1,500 overnight. Thank you. All right. So, I mean, this is kind of testimonials I get, guys. Of course, not all the trades are winning trades. There is, the track record is 45 wins, 22 losses. But, the winners are pretty substantial. Okay. There's some scratch trades sometimes where, maybe lose a cent or two on the contracts or make a cent or two. But usually it's pretty exciting wins that we score with this. The thing is just being patient and waiting for the trades to come to you. Job to keep track of. All right. All right. So fedtraderservice.com/special. And guys, I'm also putting all the risk on my shoulders. So, I think you guys are going to be happy. I think you're going to stay as subscribers for a long time, especially with the special discounted offer of only $4.97 for a full year. But if I'm not right, all the risk is on my shoulder. About the Fed Trader Service, and if you don't see the potential it has to generate consistent big winners for you, just let me know within the first 30 days, and I'll send you a prompt refund. All right, so don't know what else I can do to take the risk off of your shoulders and onto mine other than that. But I do actually have a second guarantee, and this guarantee is that if the Fed Trader Service doesn't provide you with that next year, basically, I'll apply a $500 credit to your account, and you'll basically get the next year for free. All right? So not one, but two guarantees, fedtraderservice.com/special, and you'll get instant access to the members area where you can start, viewing the course. It's not a big, long course, but it is, several videos. And that way, hey, you're licking your chops and ready for the next Fed trade. Your service, you can lock in a full year's worth of Fed Trader Service plus the bonus course for just $497. All right, fedtraderservice.com/special. All right, so who has questions? All right. Let's see here. Also, I don't have my window open where I can see who's joining, so I will be sure to hit you guys up. You should be getting an email from me after you join anyways. All right. Any questions? Any questions about how the trades are structured or how they work or expiration dates or anything? You might as well ask them while you have me here live. I've taken accounts before. I think it was last year I took a $15 account. I turned it into 10 grand within 3 months. So this is doable. I've done it myself. And me being pretty much I don't think I'm a standout trader, or, I don't have like Einstein's IQ. So I think if I do it, you guys can do it too. That's Robert says, what's the track record win-loss percentage? I don't know what that percentage is. 45 wins versus 22 losses. I'd have to get my calculator out, but about twice as many wins as you have losses. Okay. How many signals do you get a month? Only the jobs report and others, or others. So yeah, so that's a good question. So this is so the jobs report. That's actually a really good point that I can make, is that sometimes the jobs report, can produce more than one trade for us. As an example, on this last trade that I showed you on Thursday and Friday of last week, where is it? Okay, right here. So, I bought the strangle at 314 and sold it at $4.13. But I also alerted a because it's such a powerful catalyst. I went ahead and alerted SPY calls yesterday, and at a different strike price, obviously, and it was a January 18 expiration, but January 18th expiration, but we exited that trade this morning as a continuation trade based on the momentum from Friday and yesterday morning. So that was another. Let's see, we were stopped out. I was stopped out at 450, so it went from I was entered at 330, stopped out. So another 25% gainer. If I would have sold right at the open, it would have been like a 40 or 50% gainer. But old Matt's always trying to hit a home run. So instead of trying to, instead of just selling at the open on the big gap up, 1% gap up, I put in a stop loss and got stopped out. So, but at least last Friday I didn't get stopped out before I had that huge run, and it made that sweet trade and made a nice 30% profit on that strangle. So, so the jobs report can produce 2 trades, to answer your question. And then the other thing is the interest rate decisions. So that's another trade. And then another potential trade is the CPI. So some months there can be, 3 trades, maybe 4. Another month there may be 4 or 5 trades. So I try not just to trade based on technical or chart formations and things like that, because then I'm not staying true to my roots of the strategy, and then I can veer off course, and it can get messy. Not to say that I'm 100% against that. If it's a really, really great setup on the chart, I might make a trading GLD. But definitely for the SPY and the QQQ, I'm only going to trade that off of the events. All right. Now another special event that can really crush it is like elections. This last midterm election, that trade didn't work. I was a losing trade, but like 2016 election just crushed it. The Brexit trade crushed it. So I'm always on. I've got my ear to the ground for these special types of one-time scenarios, and I'll always alert those to my Fed Trader subscribers as long as they're relevant to the Fed policy, which, big events like that usually are. The Fed usually is watching that stuff. All right. So to answer your question, it's, minimum you're going to get, 3 trades a month, maybe 2 if it's really slow. And then, if it's a busy month, maybe get 4 or 5. So, but again, guys, over trading will kill you anyways, right? So you want quality, not quantity of trades anyways. So that's my job, is to try to help you put you in the position where you're going to grow your account, not just burn it up with, gambler trades, right? Any other questions pour moi? Again, guys, this is why I save the screenshots of these trades, is so I can show people, hey, look, I really have found something that really works, and it's not what you're used to seeing. This is where you can make money based on whether the market goes up or down. I haven't found anyone else that's really discovered the strategy. I don't know, maybe one of my competitors will watch one of these webinars and copy me. I don't know. I think this is pretty unique. Bill says, what is the time for expiration on the options? So it varies from time to time. Sometimes I will go with the options expiring that week. Other times I will go with the options that expire the week following in case I want to hold them over the weekend. So for example, last Friday, I bought the options that expired that Friday. So there was very, very small amount of time value to them, and it was going to be a very bigger percentage move if I got a big directional move one way or the other, up or down. But at the same time, if it would have been closer to unchanged on the day, then that trade would have been a pretty big loss. Now the flip side of that is if I went out to the following Friday, it would have been a smaller percentage gain. But I could also hold it over the weekend, the winning leg over the weekend that way. So sometimes I might do both. I might buy one strangle that expires that week, and I might buy another one that expires the week following. So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat on this, but I lay out the specific trades that I take to my subscribers of Fed Trader Service. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. So just to recap how the alerts, that's like an example screenshot of the text alerts, everything's spelled out. Again, you get the emails too, like here's the first thing. So I sent out a preparation email. So say if you're out in the backyard chopping wood, for your fireplace, hey, I just got an email, or hey, I just got a text from Matt. He said there's going to be a trade later on this afternoon. Then you're going to know to be mentally prepared to take that trade, and the sell alert for the losing leg, and then the sell alert for the winning leg. And then you can just, be happy because you'll have more money. And I'm pretty excited about the $1,500 account challenge too, to see who the first one to get to 10K will be. All right. Again, guys, $497 pay in the $1,500 account challenge, and also get a full year worth of Fed Trader Service alerts. Any other questions? Here's a couple testimonials I'll leave up there. Maybe I didn't read them word for word, so you guys can read them if you want. And it's Flash is trying to update on me. Great timing, Flash player, in the middle of a webinar. But yeah, Murphy's Law, huh? I think I'll do that later. I thought I was going to have some Clemson fans on here today. But yeah, so excited. You know, you get that nice. You know, if you're a Clemson fan, you know, you have that feeling of euphoria, right, after a win like that. I remember when Ohio State won a national championship, it was just like such a euphoric feeling, you know. And you know, with trading, we can be on both sides there. We can feel the anguish of defeat, but we can also feel the thrill of victory, that euphoria. And the coolest thing about it with these types of trades, guys, is I find myself pinching myself is that I make money even when I'm wrong about where I think the market's going to go based on, you know, the upcoming event. I just think I just kind of like, you know, I'm just like, wow, did I really make money even though I was totally wrong? And I just kind of laughed to myself. And I'm not afraid to admit it either, you know. Because that's what it boils down to, is just, you know, making money, not necessarily being right about what's going to happen. Right, guys? All right, any other questions? So that link should take you to a secure order form where you can check out and claim your spot for the $1,500 account challenge and get a full year worth of Fed Trader service, 100% money back guarantee for 30 days, plus guarantee number 2, where you get basically a free year subscription after a year if you haven't gotten at least 12 trades that can give you the opportunity to double your money. All right, guys. So again, the risk is mine. The pressure's on me to provide these opportunities to you, clearly spelled out in plain English, to make these trades, to make nice money, to turn a little $1,500 account into 10 grand in a short period of time. All right, who else has a question? If not, we'll wrap up because it's already after 1. Okay, let's see if anyone has a question. So hopefully I answered your question, Bill, on expiration dates. All right, guys, I guess nobody else has any. Checking into everyone who claimed a subscription, and hopefully the replay will come out fine, and I can send you the link to the replay, and we'll keep the offer open for a little while, maybe another several days, maybe a week or maybe 2, I don't know, but depends on how excited people are, I guess, to respond to the offer. And yeah, so I guess worst case, hopefully you learned something today that you didn't know before, and you see proof that it worked. You know, as you saw one trade where your boy Matt made 22 grand overnight. And so pretty exciting stuff, guys. All right, guys, so we're going to conclude the webinar. Again, the link beneath your video. Go ahead and click on that right now if you're not sure, and leave that tab open. Maybe go take a walk or go run some errands later tonight. Hey, you thought about it, take part in the challenge, or maybe not take part in the challenge, but you just want to see who ends up being the winner and stuff like that. Plus, get the great trade alerts for a full year of access to Fed Trader Service. Go ahead and click on that link, or type in fedtraderservice.com/special to get the special offer. Okay, guys? Have a great day, and email me at matt@microcapmillionaires.com with any questions. I'll see you guys later.